Today, we want to give you 3 topics about natural collection. That is, what is natural collection? What the horse world does to attempt to get collection in their horses. And the third thing is what you can do to allow natural collection to emerge.
So, going back to the first topic, what is natural collection? And this is something what's already so exciting because we see natural collection already occur from beautiful little foals up to older horses.
Absolutely.
But to just help us here in the conversation with helping busting people's beliefs and kind of thought limitations.
I think a little more than busting beliefs, it's to open the mind that there is a different approach. Not even a different approach, it's a new paradigm, it's a new planet. Yeah?
Because what those little foals show us, they already can do collection and even high collection almost as soon as they're born. Like as soon as they can run, which is within a couple of hours.
Yes, exactly. They can do things like even piaffe, passage, they can do levades, they can do collected canters.
Levade, did you say?
Yeah, I did say levade, but you can say it again because I do. The beauty is that these foals they just do it. It's in them. It's actually in their DNA and available. And this is not lost in the adult horses as they get older. It is only lost when people try to use, if you like, the horse world approach to get collection, and it stifles it.
But before we go to the horse world's approach, let's have a look what the foals, young horses, and older horses when they're allowed, do when they are free without the human putting on their man-made rules. So what we see in the collection is that they lift their posture, they slow down, meaning they slow down in gait, they slow down in steps. To lift themselves, they lift the front end.
I think first they raise their head and neck, right?
Yes.
So they raise their head and neck to help them shift some weight back. So then they elevate the front end, and then they can put the weight back on the hindquarters when they're ready and lift the front end if they wish.
So it means there's almost like a domino effect with lifting the pole, which lifts the front and shifts the weight back and allows the horses to sit down. And this happens the more the horses slow down and are almost hardly moving anywhere. So this is something really amazing to see, that all horses use those principles from their first day on. And it doesn't matter the breed or anything.
That's a big point. It does not matter what the breed of the horse is. It does not matter what color the horse is. It doesn't matter the conformation. They can all do this, and this is the beauty. And so if we go to the second topic, maybe 2, the second topic is we wanted to talk about the horse world approach to training collection. And I think training is a big word.
Yes, because now the more you think about it, the more you hear what we will say now, it seems like the person suddenly stands there as the wise person who knows how to do everything, how to do, when to do, and all of that. Now, it starts that the person thinks like you have to train it into the horse, and not just to train it in, but it takes years of preparation. Only specific breeds and specific gifted horses and specific gifted riders will ever get there.
Absolutely. This is a big thing.
Kind of the interesting part is then also that it gets told that you have kind of, if you are a skilled rider, you have to get to collection. But on the other side, most of them won't get there because, well, you're obviously not that lucky and that gifted, aren't you?
That's for sure. And I think what we want to really point out is, again, that the horse world, they say you must train the horse to collection.
So what do they do with this?
That's a
Maybe
great
give
point.
some
How do they go towards it? Now, just remember what we said earlier, that with horses that do natural collection, they raise their head, neck, they raise the thoracic sling, they shift some weight back, and they lift the front end onto the hindquarter. What the horse world tends to do and promotes is go forward into contact. And even you might start with riding long and low because you have to build the horse's back line. But that's another argument. You don't build a back line by stretching and endurance running. Okay, we can look at that later. So the thing is, the horse world says forward, more forward, and then one day after you've ridden forward into the contact, one day you might be able to half halt, get the horse back from this forward running onto the hind quarter.
So what really means when I'm listening to you is that the rider suddenly takes years of preparation, of coming from different angles to put the horse physically onto the forehand and to load the front end, right?
That's what the horse world approach does. It puts the horse more on the forehand. It puts the horse more leaning on the bit. It puts the horse more leaning on the rider's hands.
All with the good intention
Yes.
to build muscle, to prepare the horse for the one day, for this special day.
Yes, and with good intention, because they believe you must train a horse how to do collection. But we keep saying to you, horses can naturally collect. They don't need training.
And this is a sweet thing, again, referring back to topic 1, it's not that we just came up with this and think like, well, now we come up with a new man-made rule and say horses can already do it. Well, look, we simply look at the horses, look at the foals, youngsters, what they already can do.
And the older horses.
Yes. And they just show us.
They can do
Like
it.
what we just do here is put into human language what the horses can do and what we see is happening there, which is so beautiful.
Exactly. And the horse world goes the opposite direction. They're more saying go forward, right into contact.
Because remember, as we said, the foals, they slow down, they go down the gates,
Right.
and the more they collect, the more they hardly move anywhere.
Right.
And like the horse world, like you say, they usually have the long and low frame or pull the horse's head in.
More forward. So it's the exact opposite. And what we found in our experience in trying to do this with the horse world's approach, it took us in the opposite direction to what we wanted of collection. And we see so many people over and over again going in the opposite direction, causing frustration, causing confusion, causing anger, causing annoyance, and causing the horse to feel like constricted, restricted,
Shut down.
shut down and forced into these frames that actually are even against the rules of the modern dressage.
So what means if
Poles are low, should
I-
be high.
hear what you say again, it goes against their own rules from modern dressage.
Yes.
Without naming any specific
Nope.
ones, doesn't matter. And it goes against what horses do
Nature.
innate, naturally.
Absolutely. So let's get to topic 3. That is, in this short expose, how can you start to enjoy the emergence of natural collection from your horse? That's a great question. Got an answer?
So this is the really sweet part because it's theoretically so easy that I believe a 4th grader or maybe even 3rd grader would understand it, would get it and remember it.
And it's
Because
absolutely bananas easy.
it's just 3 steps. And let me ask you something. Can you remember 3 steps?
I can remember one, okay? Let's start with one.
Head and neck up and stand still.
Head and neck up in standstill, though you're not holding the head and neck up. You're not forcing the head and neck up. You're requesting the head and neck up of the horse and then allowing the horse to find out that they can stay there.
So how we could symbolize this or show this, I ask, and I do it with my body language, yeah? I just verbalize what I do. Like I ask Tony's hand to come up, and then if he goes down again, I ask him up. So what I aim for is this gap. And if he comes down again, I get to the point that I come with a little bit of energy until he maintains this gap here. And it really connects again with the rules from modern dressage, the one, the self-carriage. And the self means, well,
The horse.
Tony or the horse should really maintain that position. So
Absolutely.
we ask the horse, and of course then in the beginning when it comes down we ask it up again and again until they maintain this position themselves.
And this is over time. It's not happening in the very first sequence that you do it. And so like all training of horses, which we're not training, we're just asking our horses to go up, and we do it for a second and allow them down and so on. So then step 2, we go from there to
Backing up. So what means everything stays the same with first asking the pole, the head and neck up, and the horse maintains that position. And then you simply ask your horse in 1 or 2 smooth, slow transition into short steps. To say it easier, maintain the head and neck up and back up. And a bit more detailed information is, yes, you do the transition slow and smooth, because something that kind of suffocates collection and causes the front end to drop is doing things fast and abrupt.
Yes.
So therefore, do it slow and smooth. It's not about speed here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's not about how far they go back. It's about the backwards idea for the horse to feel the weight shifting to the hindquarter.
While they maintain
While-
the head up themselves.
Exactly. And what the head neck up does is helps the horse to feel that they can lift their thoracic sling without any force, without any making, without any pressure. And then step 3, we now go head neck up into the backwards, and then we transition slowly, calmly, smoothly into some forward steps. And the whole point is that the forward steps are not fast, they're not rushing, they're not falling on the front end. And sometimes the horse will do this because naturally horses will,
Especially in the beginning.
yes, and when they go forward, they generally get into their natural movement that is more on the front end and more bigger steps. And so the whole idea is we go from the backwards, transition into the forwards, and if the horse falls a little, we say, oh, could you please bring your head up and just take a little step back, and then go again. And we're looking for the horse to keep a little weight shift back towards the hindquarter, head neck up, and I tell you, we tell you, magically, suddenly, legs start to lift. They might lift in a jambette, one leg up, or they might start to lift in a Spanish step style, or they might start to diagonalize.
Or come down really soft on the ground like on cotton.
Right.
So
And that's the big thing, right? We can't tell you what your horse will do in these first steps of collection.
So we literally had already people taking that framework and the horses offered movements like Levade, which is so crazy because especially like Levade is a movement you see high up when people are high educated with high educated and trained horses. And yet people take that framework which comes from the horses themselves and play with it, and within the first goes, some of those people achieve such an outcome through
And
allowing the horse to express whatever they feel like.
Exactly, the allowance is the key. And then this breaks one more myth. The horse world's approach to training collection says you must prepare your horse to get the strength to be able to do these collected moves. And what Franzi just talked about, some horses go into Levade, or some horses go into collected canter, or some horses go into Misère. They don't need to build the strength to do these moves.
Yes.
They can already do them. That's why it's called natural collection. However, just in saying that, they do need to build strength and endurance over time to make longer sequences. But to do it first time, they don't need strength.
Yeah. So you may now go out and test that, and you give it a go, and you're excited, and you have high expectations now after you watch the video, and maybe nothing will happen.
Oops.
This can happen because most people, when they take the framework, they very often do not ask the pole high enough. And now you may wonder, okay, Franzi, Tony, how high should the pole be? Because throughout all those 3 steps, you mentioned the head and neck has to come high, the pole has to come higher. So, and this is really something where it has to be on that height.
There's no measurement.
Yes, there's no measurement, because what we have to look for is when your horse usually is resting, the pole is maybe plus minus with the height. So we ask them definitely higher than with the height. And when you're starting with the first step, head and neck up and standstill, what we look for with asking the head and neck up is that the head and neck lifts and that the horse starts to lean back or rock back, something like this, that you see, okay, the front end lifts and the weight automatically starts to shift back. And with having that indicator in your mind and taking this then through all the 3 steps, very likely something will happen. So
Absolutely.
the sweet thing is that this framework, those principles, they are not breed related, not conformation related, not horse or rider experience related. They are just related to horses' physics, what horses do naturally. So therefore, it works with every horse. This is so sweet.
It's bananas, right? But it really does.
Yes.
It works with every horse. And there's a fair chance, just to go a little further on Franzi's idea of how high the head neck should be, If your horse does the transitions and falls forward a little bit, most likely the head neck needs to be a little higher to help your horse not fall forward into those forward steps. And this is a little indicator that we would look at if we were watching what you were doing.
So I just really shortly share something with you. Like, my first horse is an Arabian horse, and his conformation, like the way how he got raised, it was not optimal start into his world. Like, he got born not just with a, most people would say, horrible conformation, but he was kind of sick from day one on. He tripped and often fell and injured himself, and supposedly had trouble with his organs, and a long list. Like, it was a traumatic start for that poor boy. And the older he grew, and then the more I reached out to ask for help, to find trainers to help me to develop collection, to help him finally get more athletic, more fit, more healthy. People, even I went to different trainers, no matter if it was horsemanship or different areas from dressage, they all agreed on one thing. That horse has a horrible conformation. Kind of, they said behind me, he looks a bit ugly, or very ugly.
Yes.
And they all labeled him as, not that only there's something wrong, but he's incapable of collection.
He'll never get any better. He'll never do any good.
So I even had a trainer giving up teaching me laterals riding. Because they just, and I empathize with them, they just run out of knowledge, because it was, with normal approaches, it was very challenging with him. And now with having this light bulb about how horses naturally collect, and applying this, allowing him to utilize this again while I'm involved, oh man, I tell you, he changed so much. Like, the way how he now offers collection, how much he comes up and shifts the weight back, and how much this allows him to kind of unlock energy. And now he suddenly turned from the minimalistic, I don't want to move, I only move my legs enough to not fully
Not get
just
into
drag.
trouble.
Now he offers movements like Piaffe, Levat, school hold. He loves school hold.
Collected canters,
And
just crazy.
the way how he feels now in riding, I often say to Tony, for me he feels like a Grand Prix champion. And I'm not saying that to sound fancy, this is really in my heart how he feels. It's amazing. And why I share the story with you is because he and therefore me, we were so labeled of being incapable for one Arabian breed. Then bad conformation. Then he is not expressive. Like, it was like nobody home, all against expressive collection. And yet, with my light bulb, with my change of mindset, how I looked at things and how I approached things, everything changed. So that's a
Absolutely.
feeling that's so priceless. It's amazing that people, if they look at us now, that he can do those collected movements, and I'm sure very often he looks great. And I even had people in the last year thinking he's a stallion, which is, I think, the most beautiful compliment for a horse like him, the way how he looked. But really the way how it feels to me, and I believe the way how it feels for him, because I tell you, he even offers those collected movements when I'm just asking him to come into the arena and I'm still shutting the gate, or I'm still getting the halter to put it on and he already does a school hold or something. That is what we want you to feel.
Exactly.
That connection and that collection, because this is something, it feels so good, it's almost impossible to describe with words.
That's for sure. So hard to say anything after that, but look, just to summarize, we talked about three things. So the first one was horses can collect naturally. We call it natural collection. They can do it from hours old to any time in their life. Like Casper that Franzi was talking about is now 22.
Yeah, and we only started with him when he was 16
17 or something.
Back
Yep.
then we didn't even know that framework yet.
Didn't know. Second one is that the horse world's approach to training collection is about force, it's about pressure, it's about forward, into the bit, into contact. This is the exact opposite of what you really want to feel
Because all
with
of
your
that
horse.
sets your horse up on loading the front end.
More on the forehand than normal, and definitely not onto the hind end. And then the third one is, we gave you a 3-step framework which really is about you you staying out of your horse's way. Okay, it's just about helping your horse find a posture and then allowing their natural collection to emerge. This is what we've got to really try and get across to you. We're not training collection for these horses. They already know it. What we're doing is finding a way to help them allow that to emerge while you're there. It is priceless. You wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to add, and it's one thing, stay out of their way and then invite them into those postures, which unlocks this natural collection in this most beautiful way.
Exactly. So we'll round this up with what we call Equisit Natural Collection. Your horse's choice, your horse's way. Enjoy.